pitch. And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Let's go. Welcome into another episode 7 of the MVP Sports and Fantasy Podcast. My name is Tyler Johnson, and with me, as always, is Ryan Elke. Ryan, how's your day going?
I'm doing great. I've never been as excited to get episode 7 rolling.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm super excited too. I just had some coffee. Got done with work. It's another good day. It keeps getting warmer in Wisconsin, so that's always a good thing. And snow's melted.
See, I feel like that's why I'm in a good mood as well. It's just there's no snow. Spring is here. It's officially here. Summer's on the way. It's just great times.
I mean, it also helps too that March Madness is literally tomorrow. So I cannot wait to be streaming that in my headphones as I'm at work tomorrow. So that's my.
They're gonna have them on the. They're gonna have the games on the big screen in the office. So
you are lucky.
Unfortunately, I won't be at the office much tomorrow, but when I hop in there, there'll be games on. So I guess that's a plus.
Another thing I wanted to touch on. Me and Ryan are both big video gaming fanatics. We like gaming, and to anybody who hasn't heard, there was kind of a huge announcement with Google. They're coming out with a Google Stadia, which is a streaming platform where they're completely getting rid of hardware. It's going to be like the next generation of gaming. I know Ryan didn't know about me going to talk about this, but I listen to more podcasts involving video games and kind of the future. And I thought it'd be kind of interesting for anybody out there who used to play games or played games going into the future. Google's announcement is crazy. You have to go and look it up. It's called Google Stadia, Stadia, and it's going to be an online streaming to where you're not even going to need a computer. You can, if you have Google Chrome up on like your phone or on a computer, laptop, anything, tablet, you can play any of the games that come out in 4K, 60 frames a second, and they show that on the actual service itself. They have people playing, Assassin's Creed, and it looks good. And from what they're saying is that you're not even going to need that good of an internet just because of the service that they're providing. And it's just going to be the future of gaming. So if you are interested in something like that, make sure you take a look at it and just watch what they're doing, because they have controllers with Wi-Fi in them. And so it's going to be crazy. They're another platform that has come up with YouTube, so they have a lot of statistics, and it's going to kind of be the next step for video games, and it's pretty much going to eliminate computers, consoles, you name it. If you're holding it, you're going to be able to play something. So what do you think about that, Ryan?
My eyes lit up over here, dude. I'm like, what?
And when you watch the video, they actually say that you can get almost infinite number of players on like a single game, where you could probably do a battle royal game with like 1,000 on 1,000 because of how unlimited the options are for this. So definitely go and watch it. It's not that long of a video. Well, it's decent size, but the amount of stuff they talk about, it's pretty interesting. So
I'll have to check that out after this.
yes. And you can just kind of look at the sections. It's like an E3, so they just kind of go through sections. Okay. And so then kind of going in a different direction, I also wanted to talk about, I play a lot of baseball, hardball. Growing up, big into hardball. So I play in a league where we use wood bats. I just recently purchased a pro hitter, and if you're not, you don't know what a pro hitter is, it's that rubber piece that it's almost like a rubber ring that you see some of the pro players wearing around their thumb. Some of the main pro players that they highlight is like Aaron Judge, Alcides Escobar, Brandon Crawford, Bryce Harper, Cody Bellinger, just to name a few people. And I would say more than 50% of the MLB and AAAs down the minor league are wearing this pro hitter, and it goes on the upper hand thumb. And what it's made for is to keep your fingertips on the bat and to keep your palm and kind of over gripping the bat. So if it's something you're interested in, I'm also looking to do a review. Whenever you search it on YouTube, you don't really get that more grown up. I played a lot of baseball. I could give you a pretty good review on it. It's a lot of younger kids that are just opening it up and kind of talking about it, or pro players just swinging the bat with it. So I'm going to put that up on our YouTube. It's at MVP Sports Podcast. And up there, you can kind of see my review. Once it gets a little bit warmer out, I'm just going to record myself hitting, talk about it. I want people to give it a try because this is something where if you can get one of your younger kids, they come in all different sizes, younger kids using it, maybe they grow out of it to where they're automatically using their fingertips on the bat. But for me, it's kind of a game changer. It feels good right out of the box. It feels good. People are going to say it was going to be a little awkward, but I'll talk about that during a review. I just wanted to let you know that it's something that if you're interested in, that's also going to be on our YouTube channel. So, Ryan, have you ever seen anyone wearing those rubber pro hitters?
I have not. You were the first one to actually introduce it to me. So I actually, does it work for softball?
I'm not sure how many
would
people
it
use
help
it for
with the swing at all, or?
I mean, it helps for holding a bat, so I would assume that it would help for softball. It kind of gets the bat more of a whip.
Okay.
It gives you a little more control. So you lead with your dominant hand through the zone, and then your right hand is. It just feels nice. It keeps it out of the palm of your hand, so it gives it more of a drive through the baseball. And
okay, makes sense.
So during this episode, then we are going to talk a little bit about more free agent signings. We're going to talk about news, and then we're going to jump into more of the meat of the episode is going to be going through mine and Ryan's first 2 rounds, how it would look if the draft started today, kind of where we evaluate people, looking at side by side with the mock drafts that are going on as we're talking now, that it does differ, and this is kind of what we're going to get ourselves into as the season starts. So we kind of want to give you a little bit of a taste of where our minds are and how we're going to set up our rankings so that it helps out anybody listening where we come from. Maybe if you have a differing opinion on a player, we're going to give our side of the story, and maybe we'll talk you out of it, or if you have maybe some tips or any sort of comments you want to tell us, make sure you leave a comment in YouTube or you leave a review just asking us questions. So we'll bounce ideas off each other. But after that, we'll answer a few questions. I have about 3 or 4 questions lined up from the Sleeper Bot, and then also one that I wanted both of us to kind of go over before we end the show. So starting off with free agent signings, anyone that you would want to talk about in particular, Ryan?
Yeah, I want to start off with Le'Veon Bell's contract and who he signed with. He signed with the Jets. I know it's a little older news, but the move happened after our latest podcast, like minutes after it ended. So he ended up signing 4 years, $52.5 million contract. Now, I could be wrong, but that's much less than what he would have got from the Steelers. If I remember correctly, just off the top of my head here, he was offered 5 years, $75 million, I think, from the Steelers, and he turned it down and basically laughed at it. So I find it funny that he signed for much less to go to a worse team. It's just Le'Veon Bell, like, again, that whole debacle, I feel is just, it's horrible.
Well, and then when the Steelers were going to give him more money to play, I think it was that last season that if he would have played, he would have made about $6 million more, but instead he held back, lost all that money, thinking that he was going to get this next huge deal, and signs with the Jets, which I don't see them even making the playoffs. And I remember seeing a Facebook post of him talking about how it's either Ben's way or the highway. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because you go into the comments and every single person's like, Ben's won 2 rings. Le'Veon wasn't even there for either of the Super Bowls. And it's talking about how Ben is pretty much the rock of that team. As much as you want to hate or anything that he's done off the field, he's been a stellar quarterback. I mean, you got to
think, though, most teams, though, their quarterbacks are the guy. That's the guy. Like, that's the leader of your team. If not, then I don't feel it's run correctly. Like that, every play, he touches the ball every time, the quarterback. So I feel like if you're gonna give any leniency on anybody, it's the quarterback.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it as a franchise, that's who it would go to.
Well, and you see like these 2 guys like Brown and Bell that are talking about Big Ben and how it's his show. And
They're jealous of him.
Yeah,
they want to be in his spot. Yeah.
You sign with the Jets, which automatically makes Bell the main guy. So that shows kind of that he wanted to be, and then how much money he's making. Same with Brown, how much money he's making. He goes to Oakland, or I guess Vegas, but
it's still Oakland for another year.
you look at these two guys, and they're now the name of their team, and they're going to be calling the shots. And I think that's kind of what they wanted. And I think
they want the spotlight. They're both spotlight type of guys, I feel, and they want everyone anytime you say the Jets, Le'Veon Bell wants it to be his face. You know what I mean? Like you think of Steelers, you think of Big Ben. That's where it's at. So those guys were shadowed kind of by his name.
Yeah, and I think last podcast we were kind of talking about how, like, the NBA, when you talk about LeBron James, and then you got Kyrie Irving.
It was Kyrie that got jealous of LeBron, and now he's going back on that. Like, dang, I messed up. So
yeah, and I can see the same thing with Bell. If, like, a few years go by and he's like, oh, what if I would have stayed in Pittsburgh? And I can see Pittsburgh all of a sudden moving forward, taking a step forward, and making it to the playoffs and getting way farther than Brown or Bell ever would with their respective teams.
Yeah, man. Another note on this contract, though, he only got $25 million guaranteed, so he can be cut after 2 years.
Yeah. Or a single injury would take him
instead
off
of the Steelers offered him $30+ million guaranteed in that deal, and he laughed at it because he wanted something similar to the Gurley deal. He actually wanted to beat the Gurley deal, which may have had $50 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
could be wrong, but it's a high number.
So you shoot for a lot of money, and then all of a sudden it gets thrown in your face. So hopefully it's more of a message of people sticking to their contracts and playing through them. Because, I mean, it really hurt the Steelers. Of course, Connor did great as a running back, but Bell is a good running back with that offensive line, and it would have made a difference. So
I guess what helps with the whole Steelers situation is they can churn out receivers and running backs like nothing. So hopefully they can just, replace them pretty easily. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to replace them guys. They're top players at their position, but I feel the Steelers are going to be better than what people give them.
Yeah, and we'll see this upcoming year how the Jets, because the Jets have a putrid offensive line, and they don't have the offense, so it'll be a shock.
They're going to be stacking the box on Le'Veon Bell, so he's not going to put up the numbers like he did in Pittsburgh.
And how I think about it too is how bad Gurley was. Remember 2 years ago how Gurley had a really bad...
That was under Jeff Fisher. That was before McVay. So he just wasn't utilized right.
Yeah.
Offensive line, yeah, you're right. They built that up after he got fired. So
yeah, and all of a sudden he's great. So in Pittsburgh, like you said, it turns out a lot of running backs. So I think it's more the system, and I guess we'll see the true colors when people leave. That's kind of how it goes. Well,
another thing though, you got to look at what the Steelers do. They utilize their running backs all over the field. They pass to them and they run. So Le'Veon Bell he's gonna get less work. I feel.
And it's just like when Dallas had that number one graded offensive line, literally anybody could have ran behind it. So
for sure.
And then they go somewhere else, and I mean, you had Alfred Morris running behind that line, and he looked good. So
that's true. That's funny. That is true. He did look pretty good.
So that was a big signing. I think we touched, now that we were talking about it, I remember touching on it last week, but it is a big signing. Going into more of, we got some big signings in here. We got to talk about our boys from Green Bay. Even though it was sad to see two of our main faces go that have been...
It's for the better.
Yes, it's going to be way for the better, but it is a face where we have seen for 10 plus years. So we got Randall Cobb and Clay Matthews. Both, you got Randall Cobb going over to Dallas to take over that Cole Beasley slot. And then you got Clay Matthews going to the Rams. So, and Clay's making some good money for where he's...
He is. He's making $1 million a year with incentives or whatever. I think the incentives are in that deal. But it's a good fit because what I was reading, he has a house in Southern California that's literally minutes from their practice facility. So, and he's playing. I'm pretty sure they play in the Trojan Stadium, don't they? I could be wrong on that. But if so, that's where he played college. So Clay Matthews is literally back home. I could see rejuvenation out of Clay Matthews, and he could get 10 plus sacks after having only 2.5 or 3.5 with us this past season. And you know who's going to go crazy? Twitter, Packer fans. They're, you shouldn't have let Clay Matthews go, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, the time has ran out. Like, same McCarthy. McCarthy's a good coach. So if he goes somewhere and has success, people are going to say the same thing. But he's a good coach, and Clay Matthews is still a decent player. You can easily see a rejuvenation out of Clay Matthews. And Randall Cobb as well. I feel like he's going to have a solid year.
Yeah.
A lot of attention is going to be focused on Zeke and Mari Cooper. What does that leave you? That's going to leave you Randall Cobb running over the middle or whatever he's got to do. It's a good fit both ways.
And as long as Cobb stays healthy, he's had some health issues. But Clay Matthews, the the reason he's going to shine is because he's going on to probably
good
top 5 defense. When you leave a defense that really
His
we had to
bottom
use
10.
schemes, we had to use schemes to stop offenses, going to a defense that didn't need schemes. It literally had a solid defense getting pressure on the quarterback. It's going to show bright for Clay Matthews. Anyone that went there was going to have a uptick of how they look compared to their old team. So if Packer fans are a little up in arms because Clay Matthews starts doing well, it's just a process of the team he's on. So
That's the fan base, dude. They overreact to everything and just freak out about everything.
So a couple more just kind of under the table signings. If you didn't hear, Tyrod Taylor is going to be backing up Phillip Rivers as a Charger. Kind of interesting. He's 29 years old. I guess maybe just for if he gets injured.
Surprised he just didn't go to Miami.
Yeah, if you wanted to start. So maybe just making enough money to get by. And then you got Blake Bortles that is going to the Rams. So there's another one going over the Rams. He's a good backup, I guess. 26 years old. He's a lot younger than you
Solid
would think.
backup quarterback. I mean, it's not like I feel that's probably one of the top backups in the league.
Yeah, and I forget what his contract, what they signed him to, but I mean,
We'll just say it's a lot less than the $20 million that the Jaguars were paying him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. And now the Jaguars are overpaying again, so I guess we'll see where that ends
Hey, they
up.
got a Super Bowl winning quarterback, Tyler. Come on now.
Yeah, that's true. And when you win a Super Bowl, I guess you get paid a lot of money,
Yep.
and then you forget how to play football. So.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get into kind of a bigger signing. If we didn't touch it last week, it was Tevin Coleman going to San Fran. Out of anybody, it's like, I guess you heard the whispers in the bushes of San Fran looking for a running back, but they have 4, and they just signed Raheem Mostert to a
Yeah, they
an
just
extension.
guaranteed his deal for 2 years, I think. So that's crazy. They got 4 backs there. I think Breida might be on his way out.
Yeah, it's either Breida or McKinnon. I mean, they're talking about McKinnon and Coleman being that third down back. And yeah, I don't know. Breida showed himself as being a very good running back, but it is also the system. Just like how Pittsburgh always produces running backs.
Shanahan's real good with his
Shanahan
running backs.
always produces.
So I think episode 2 or 3, I threw it out there just out of the blue. I said that Tevin Coleman, that was my pick. He was going to go there to the 49ers because of the ties with Shanahan.
Yep.
So I felt like connecting those dots was perfect. And McKinnon, you don't know what he's going to be. He had a good second half with Minnesota 2 years ago, and then the Niners gave him like $7 million a year, and then he tore his ACL. So we'll see. I think that's going to be a great combo, honestly. Coleman and McKinnon is a great combo for them. It's just they guaranteed Mostert's contract, so he's going to be mixed in as well. That just leaves no room for Breida. Unless they really do cut McKinnon, I mean, I think that trio of running backs will do just fine. So if they cut McKinnon or Breida, they're still going to be fine.
Yeah, and I think they were talking about trades also, if they're trying to trade for draft picks. But it does make it interesting because fantasy value, let's say...
I definitely want to share that backfield, honestly. Like, not if they're projected super high, but I'll take either or of those running backs. Not Mostert, but I'll take Breida or McKinnon or Coleman. You know, Coleman's going to be, I think, the guy to have. But we'll see.
That's what I was going to say, too. I think Coleman going on the team... It just shows that he's grabbing onto that pass catching. I mean, you saw Coleman in a Falcon uniform when he was catching passes out of the backfield. No one knew if it was going to be who was going to be the lead back out of Atlanta. That's how good Coleman was looking. And then to go back to an old coach who is going to
knows his system. Right. He doesn't really have to learn as much. It's just perfect fit.
Yeah, and that's how I always thought Jarrett McKinnon was going to be, was that perfect Coleman fit, that maybe even a better Coleman.
Yep.
And now it's kind of up in the air.
I feel they're both the same skill level. I'll give the minor edge to McKinnon on the pass catching, and the running side I'll give to Coleman, even though Coleman does both very well. It's going to be a good combo.
Yeah.
Niners are up and coming.
McKinnon was a freak too. I think he was like top percent at the combine, so he came out of that as the nickname the Freak. So moving into another big signing is Mark Ingram going to Baltimore, and It's kind of an interesting signing for me because I remember last year before the season even started how people were kind of shining on Baltimore backfield, and they're like, "Oh, grab Alex Collins. He's going to be great." And it didn't really produce.
I didn't buy that.
Yeah, and you remember it too, right? Where people
Yep,
were.
I do. They had that guy,
highly.
dude. He was going like 4th, 5th round,
Yeah.
3rd, 4th, 5th round in fantasy. I'm like, no way, I'm not touching him.
So you look at the end of the season, they're going to be running in with Lamar Jackson. You know, he's not that great of a passer. Hopefully they're working on that off the offseason. But
He'll improve a little bit.
Gus Edwards was putting up some great fantasy points at the end of the season.
He reminds me of your boy, the Bus from the Steelers. He's like a poor man's Bus. Jerome Bettis, man. That's who he is.
I can see, because, I mean, you look at the backfield, you got Kenneth Dixon still. They got a couple other, Turner and Irvin. Mark Ingram is going to, I think, impress some people this year. I didn't even boast about like Collins or any backfield for Baltimore last year, just because I didn't see it producing like it did, or like it didn't, I should say. And I think this year is the year for Mark Ingram to be a PPR machine.
I think he's going to be really good. Like we both called in the last podcast. This was right before Ingram signed, and Bell signed. That we said the Ravens need Mark Ingram or Le'Veon Bell to get their offense moving, and either one, whoever would sign there, is going to be a great fantasy option. And I mean, Bell's a good option in New York just because his skill set, but Mark Ingram's going to be a good option and in Baltimore just because he can be that workhorse. He's proved it, and he's improved every year that he's been in the league.
Yeah,
and also with the running quarterback, that actually helps you as a running back because.
Yep.
They got to keep an eye on the quarterback if he's doing option or, run pass option, all that stuff. So it's just, you can't put all your focus on Mark Ingram. You still have to keep eyes on Lamar Jackson. So that does help.
And that's what I was going to say is the option plays, Ingram's going to fit a perfect role because he can catch the ball and he can
he can catch the ball pretty well. Plus, he's like that power back that can catch the rock. So that's a good combination. He's not flashy. He's not like, oh my God, like Kamara, like the agility. He doesn't have that. He's more of your old school running back with some hands. So it's always good. He's a good running back to have. Any team in the NFL would like a running back like Mark Ingram.
Yeah, in the Ravens offense, they need to pick up a couple of wide receivers here because Lamar Jackson.
I'll go play for him because I don't think they have anybody.
Oh my goodness, their best receiver is.
I don't know.
Couldn't even name it. Willie Snead? Is he?
I don't know.
They got Quincy.
We went over that last week.
Addy Boyo.
yeah, I don't know. Exactly. I don't know who they have. They got rid of John Brown. They got rid of Crabtree. Everyone's gone. So.
Yep. So
they're going to draft somebody.
And I'm trying to think, drafting and what wide receivers are still left to be picked up. I mean, they can go out and get Jordy Nelson, or if they want Crabtree back, you bring Crabtree back.
I think Crabtree's done and gone.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting because a lot of the higher...
Jordy ain't going there. He's like, heck no, I'm not going to go there and be the main receiver.
No.
He's like 34, 33. Nah.
I forget where...
a perfect fit for him is New England, I think. I would love him to go to New England, but I saw he was interested in the Seahawks. The Seahawks were interested in him. I don't know if that's the best fit. They already have an all right receiving core over there.
Yeah, unless they can get him on the
run
cheap.
First.
So
yeah, for sure.
All right, well, moving on to the next team here. We're going to go to the Redskins. Washington, it just re-signed Adrian Peterson to a 2-year deal. Very interesting, a 33-year-old.
$8 million, I think.
Yeah, yep. And, 33 years old, Adrian Peterson coming back for the Redskins. It makes you think.
He's a machine.
Yeah,
he's a machine.
Maybe Demarius Geis isn't at the 100%.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think he is. Well, the previous reports, though, he had that infection, so they're worried about him. The thing is, though, if Geis comes back and he's fully healthy, dude, Peterson's going to take a back seat, but he's there for protection.
I mean, Geis, being 21, just drafted.
He's like a young AP, honestly. He's good. Yeah,
going into this year, I had him hyped. Or going into last year, I had him hyped for going in the second round or third round.
Yeah, he was going in the second round in a lot of leagues before he got hurt. That's why you don't draft until after week 3 of the preseason. So everyone note that down. Do not draft in a money league.
Yeah,
until after week 3.
Save that for our keynote episode.
For sure.
We'll have to break down kind of exactly what you need to do and why you do it for a fantasy league. So
I got some more news over here on the free agent front. This is pretty big news, I think. It just popped up. Saints are nearing a deal with Jared Cook. I feel that's huge for that offense.
Oh, I did hear about that. I actually was listening today about it, and that'd be nice. Nice for Jared Cook.
I think it's a great fit. He'll open up the middle of the field is going to be wide open. You're going to have.
They needed a pass
he's going to be
catching tight
running.
end.
Yeah, exactly. Very athletic. Michael Thomas, Kamara, Jared Cook. You got the young receivers. Traquan Smith there. It's scary offense. It's a nice. He could look like he's not going to look like Jimmy Graham in his prime, but keep an eye on him for fantasy football.
Yeah, especially how tight ends are.
Drew Brees loves his tight end.
You got 3 or 4 good tight ends. It could pop him up there in the top 5, and
he finished top 5 in Oakland last year, didn't he? Top 6.
Did.
He was in there. He was up there.
A couple huge games.
Just imagine now he's with Drew Brees, so top 4, probably. After Kittle, it's probably Jared Cook.
I mean, it helps out. So people on that offense, it helps out Michael Thomas. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
it'll open
that's
up.
my boy.
They'll have to throw a lot more coverage on the tight end, and right now Michael Thomas does need the help. So I would love that signing. So that's kind of a bigger signing. We'll jump in over to Golden Tate. He's going to New York on kind of a fatty deal for a 30-year-old. Past his prime, I would say, but 4 years, $37.5 million, and then it's 23.5 fully guaranteed. And you're going to a New York team. I mean, I guess he's going there to replace Odell. Equal talent, right?
Okay, stop.
He's a 5'10", 197 pounds. I mean, it was an interesting.
It's a terrible signing. What are the Giants doing? Okay, for one, Golden Tate wanted $15 million a year, so he got way less. Was ridiculous asking for that. Yeah. 2, what are the Giants doing spending money on a receiver? Well, they're rebuilding. Why are you giving this guy? I mean, it's a nice chunk of change. Why not just put a young guy there? Yeah. I don't understand it. When I saw the signing, I laughed. I'm like, first of all, why would Golden Tate go there? Go to a team that has a chance to win.
Yeah,
you're just in Detroit, freaking melting for how many years? Like, come on, man, go somewhere to try to win. Patriots were a perfect fit. Your Steelers were interested. Why not go there?
Yeah,
play the slot in Pittsburgh.
I mean,
you get plenty of opportunity. For what? Maybe $1 million less a year or something. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know what goes on behind closed doors or if there was an official offer. I know there was interest in him, but just him signing there is kind of like, I think he was worried, and
I mean, you look at
he wasn't sure how much money he was going to get, so he took what he could, and he's like, that's a lot of money. That guaranteed this. I'm going to go there. I'm the best receiver there, so I'll get my targets. So maybe after 2 years when they cut me, I can still have another chance.
Yeah, and just looking at the deal too, I mean, he probably didn't have any better deals, or I don't know.
No, that had to have been his best money deal. Yeah. It shows in where he signed. That had to have been his best money deal.
And I mean, the Giants have Sterling Shepard. They have Corey Coleman now.
Russell Shepard. Corey Coleman went there. Oh yeah, he went there last year, right? He didn't get much work.
No,
I think at the end of the year he went there. So he might get. He's talented. He just gets hurt.
Yeah. I mean, he had a little bit of a stint at the Browns.
Yep.
He had a few.
He showed flashes.
Games.
Then he got hurt. So
yeah, and then that put him in the back burner. So and Golden Tate, Coleman, Shepard.
Browns don't need any more receivers, so that's all right. They're good.
No, they definitely don't, and they're gonna be a fun team to watch. So, all right, moving on to the Raiders. They pick up Antonio Brown, and then now they have
his nemesis
Williams.
Yeah, and his nemesis Vontaze Burfict, dude. They signed him, the guy that knocked him out.
All right, talk to me, Ryan. What do you think?
I want to see how that relationship is, dude. It was funny because I saw something there after he signed with the team. There was like a meme or something like, and Antonio Brown has requested a trade and wants a new contract. I laughed at it. It was funny, but I just want to see how that. I'm sure they'll be fine, but they'll probably laugh about it, and
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like he'll show
Perfect will laugh how he knocked him out and ruined. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, Burfict actually he's racked up $4 million in fines in his NFL career.
Yeah, well,
I don't think he's played in September in 3 years because he's been suspended for the first 4 games of every season. Basically, he's a dirty player, but he's good. He's just probably the dirtiest player in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I guess plays with a lot.
Goes
of
to Oakland. I guess it's Not
Yeah,
a bad fit.
Oakland's perfect. Yeah, bring in.
Yeah.
You
But
been
my
to
bad
jail?
for jumping in on the Williams. I just wanted to get the perfect out of the
No,
way.
no. Oakland's perfect. I mean, maybe once they switch cities, the team will cleanse itself. But as an Oakland team,
Yeah.
I mean, you on your resume, it better say at least 1 year in jail, or or you've almost killed somebody, and then you're a shoo-in because these people love contack.
Hey man, that's my dad's favorite team, the Raiders.
No, got it. It shows.
Oh, I
It
got
shows.
a cool story for everybody. Matusik, John Matusik, he was drafted from actually my high school, Oak Creek High School in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and he was drafted to the Raiders and he played under John Madden. And his parents are my parents' neighbors, so
Yeah,
it was
there you
pretty
go.
cool. I got a whole bunch of signed stuff from him, and just talking about Raiders, that was popped to my head. So it's just a cool little fun fact.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much that signature's worth, but it's
Yeah,
pretty
he's
cool.
a good player, good offensive lineman. I just heard that guy was nuts though. He would always go to bars and try to fight people. Dude was like 6'8".
As an offensive lineman, I think
Yep.
they all are close to 300 pounds and the
Yep,
size of a small building. So
exactly.
yeah, so Tyrell Williams, kind of an interesting sign. He's a bigger receiver, not that much weight. He's quick, but he's 6'4", 27 years old. It's interesting. They gave him 4 years, $44 million.
I think he's worth it. He was buried on San Diego, or on not San Diego anymore, LA's depth chart.
Yeah.
He's a freak. He's a good receiver. I think
So-
behind Antonio Brown, he's gonna do pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Depending on who's throwing on the rock. So is it Carr? Is it gonna be Murray? Who?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. For Carr to be throwing it to him, I mean, you've seen flashes of good Carr, so maybe that'll come in time to find out who's throwing the ball in Oakland for 1 more year.
Yep.
And then last wide receiver, we got 1 more wide receiver, 1 more running back. So Dante Moncrief, he signed a 1-year deal, I'm pretty sure. Steelers.
Yeah,
agree.
it's probably a 1-year deal.
Oh no, 2-year contract
It's
right
not
here.
2-year. Okay.
2-year. And
Surprised he got a 2-year. That's interesting.
yeah, he's still a younger guy. You hear Dante Moncrief, and immediately I'm like, oh yeah, 30 years old. He just seems like he's been around for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
So he'll be interesting going to the Steelers. Kind of adds a little bit more depth to their wide receiver core. It
Sleeper
definitely helps
alert.
out.
Put
Yeah,
the sleeper alert on him.
Yes. I'm gonna keep my little star next to his name. Come draft time, we'll see how the roster looks. But
You can find that guy in round 9 through 12 probably, and he could be
a 2 on.
a wide receiver 2 potentially.
Yeah.
Just because
and-
he's a good deep ball. He's good with the deep ball. Roethlisberger can gun it.
Yep.
It's just he's a touchdown guy. He
Yeah.
did very well in Jacksonville. He did pretty well in Indianapolis when he was there. So
yeah, and he's
you got to
kind
keep
of
an eye on. This is gonna be the best quarterback he's played with. Andrew Luck probably was better. He's better than Big Ben, but it's close.
and he's been a little bit above average as a wide receiver. He's been hyped up quite a few times for people going into drafts. I think him going to the Steelers, it kind of nobody's really talking about it, and that's good for anybody that's listening. So you have Juju, and then now you have Dante Moncrief and James Washington. So
Yep.
James Washington, just keep an eye on Moncrief and Washington and see who kind of pops up in either that slot role, or I mean, you can see Juju playing inside still, and then they put Moncrief where
I think
Brown was.
Moncrief would be outside. Juju,
Yeah.
he might stay in this. He might stay slot, and he'll probably be moved around. But you could see them possibly taking a receiver in the draft too.
Yeah. So the last person we're going to talk about, not huge signings, but I mean Amir Abdullah. Surprised that he showed up here, but we have to talk about him. You got Dalvin Cook, injury prone, and then you go to their second running back, and there's really nobody. I mean Amir Abdullah is going to be that maybe third down back. He got Mike Boone and then the Rock Thomas. So
Let's not talk about those two. So let's talk about Abdullah and Cook. 'Cause
I know.
that's all you need to worry about on that roster.
It's hard not to say his name though, Rock. It's just
Yeah,
ROC,
it sounds like a
Rock
running
Thomas.
back, like a star running back
Like a
name.
wrestler.
You know, Abdullah can't stay healthy either. Plus, he
No.
can't hold on to the rock. So we'll see.
Yeah, you got a weird set of group of guys there. So
Mhm.
I
I
mean,
like Dalvin Cook. Man. I'm taking him. I'll take him if he falls with me.
yeah,
He's
and
like at the end of the second round, I think. I don't know, but
that's what I was
it's a
gonna
guy
say.
I'll keep an eye on.
Looking at our 2 rounds, it'd be interesting because I want to see where Ryan's got some of his guys compared to where I have some of my picks. So, are you good to go into? Are you done with free agency, Ryan? If we jump into the 2 rounds.
Well, I just want to throw something out there. Maybe not everyone knows, I'm a huge Brewer fan. Throw some baseball news in here. The Milwaukee Brewers have had recent talks with Craig Kimbrell, the dominant closer of the past century. So just adding him, if we do, to the bullpen that we already have, it's like awesome. It's music to my ears. So it'd be great to have Hader, Knebel, and Kimbrell in the bullpen. So that'd be pretty scary. I like what the Brewers are doing. They're making a run for it.
Well, and especially how
always makes me happy.
We kind of have a unique way of using our pitchers as well. So
yep, we rely on the bullpen come playoff time, but first we got to get there.
Yep, and we have a super hard division, so we have to make moves.
Yep.
Okay, well, MLB, nothing too crazy going on. I know that a lot of nothing too crazy as I'm thinking about Mike Trout.
Dude, how do we forget? he just demolished the record, and one less year than Harper, 100 million more.
That's insane. When I saw it pop up, I'm like, there's no way. Bryce was just talking about, I want to get the biggest deal, and then Trout
same offseason. Here comes Trout.
Oh, and you want to know what? I bet you any money the Angels were like, oh shoot, if we wait another year, it might even go higher. So,
well, it would, and they were worried about because the Angels came out to the MLB and they're trying to get tampering charges on Bryce Harper and the Phillies because Bryce was trying to recruit him to the Phillies when he became a free agent. So the Angels was like, all right, literally, like I've used this term before, but they literally did it. They took a check, they signed it, and gave it to him. Like, what do you want? You're staying here. and Mike Trout filled it out, and he got a pretty good number.
Well, and how much we backlashed at like the Bryce Harper deal and the Manny deal. This is so much more money, but the player is such a good player, and now he's out of the news. He's just
he goes about his business as a true professional while being the best player in the league.
Yeah, by far.
I would say he's the GOAT, but that's gonna go to my boy Griffey. But he would be next.
I mean, if he keeps on producing
he'll
seasons,
surpass him.
He's gonna pass him
for
but
sure.
How we did the Bryce and Manny kind of breakdown. I also have the Trout breakdown. I don't know if you saw it yet, Ryan. But
no,
so
I didn't.
Mike Trout, he'll roughly make $222,222 per regular season game. He makes $66,978 per an at bat. He gets close to a little bit over $24,500 per inning. And then every pitch for the next 12 years, he's making roughly $1,600.
God, dude. Okay, I saw this. I don't know where it was, but he over the course of that contract, he's getting $99,000 a day for the whole remainder of the contract. That's what it rounds out. $99,000 a day, dude.
I saw that too.
What?
Too. And it's like he's making more than my yearly salary per day. What do you do with all that money?
People?
What do you do? Man.
God. You just wake up, the day ends. Whoop, got 99K.
Well, then I saw another thing everyone's posting around with Kyler and how he's choosing the wrong sport.
Yeah, all the memes are hilarious, dude. Hilarious. They're like, yeah, Nick Foles gets $88 million with the Jags, and then it shows Trout getting all that money with the Angels, and then it shows. I saw the meme where the dude that just takes off sprinting, it's like Kyler Murray running back to the MLB.
Yeah. Well, who's the highest paid? Is it Ryan? Matt Ryan? I think he's the highest NFL paid player.
Is it? Maybe it is. I know Aaron Rodgers surpassed him in guaranteed money.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
I'm not really sure.
I'm not
really sure.
All right,
I know he used to be.
That's the MLB news on a couple of players there, and we'll keep monitoring that. But let's get into the main course, what everyone's waiting for on mine and yours, our top 2 rounds if we were to draft today, kind of the order that we have them in, and where we see the changes. Maybe there's a couple that are on the fence, so they're dropped down a little bit. But I'd be curious on seeing who you have, so we'll just go pick by pick. We can go pretty quick through this unless there's anyone you want to stop on, and we'll see where we differ. So with your first overall pick, who are you taking?
I'm taking Saquon Barkley.
And me as well. I mean, it's pretty close between Saquon and Zeke for me. But looking at that offense, I mean, looking at Saquon's thighs and calves,
He's a beast.
it's hard.
It's like
not to
Maurice Jones-Drew combined with AP.
Oh my goodness, that photo was insane. Or that. So yeah, Saquon Barkley. I don't know if I'd argue too much about Ezekiel Elliott being right there, but it's hard not to pick Saquon. He produced last year on a mediocre team, and he's going in with another mediocre team. So I guess you have to pick him off his last season. He's only going to get better because no injury stopped him last year. So knock on wood.
Yep.
Number 2, then, obviously for me, it shows then I have Ezekiel Elliott as number 2.
I have Zeke as well at number 2.
Okay, so a pretty conservative 1-2. And with this, when I was filling it out, I don't know how it was when you were filling it out, Ryan, but as I was going through, I felt kind of like a shift. There's a group where you got to grab one of these upper running backs. And
I'm a huge receiver guy, but if I'm in the top 7, I'm going running back.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They're going to be the first time since the Sean Alexander LT days, honestly.
Yeah, I think top 6 is where I was. I'm gonna grab a running back if I got top 6. If not, I mean it drops off to mediocre. Well, not mediocre, a little bit above mediocre running backs. So once we hit that running back, I have a clear running back to where all of a sudden I think it drops off. And once we get there, same with wide receivers. So once I get there, we'll break our tiers off. So your number 3 pick, Ryan, who do you have there?
I'm going to go with, oh man, it's tough between McCaffrey and Kamara here would be my 2 picks, but I'm going to go with McCaffrey.
Okay. I went with Kamara for my number 3.
Okay. You can't go wrong there.
And
I just feel there's no competition in Carolina, though.
Yeah.
I mean, now that Ingram's gone, it's Kamara by himself, but they're going to draft somebody. They're going to run that 2-back system, I feel. Yeah. They can't just give the reins to Kamara. Maybe they can, and if so, then he's definitely the 3rd guy.
And I mean, when I look at McCaffrey, I look at him as being pretty safe again this year because he's going to get a lot of work, but I also know that teams now have gotten a full season of seeing McCaffrey. And going into next season, I don't see anything different with their team too much, especially with Cam possibly being injured or playing hurt, that Christian McCaffrey could go down a little bit in stock. I still have him at top 5, but Alvin Kamara just seems like he's going to be very safe again this year, and he's on a higher tempo offense. So I have Kamara above McCaffrey. Just a little bit different than the consensus rankings. So sure. Jumping to my number 4, it's probably be a little bit different than yours after hearing your Kamara. I have DeAndre Hopkins at my number 4.
Ooh, okay.
And that's a little bit different of a thought going into these running backs, but I mean, it was between Hopkins and McCaffrey right there that I don't know. I think locking up a top wide receiver right around that area, it's almost like the new Brown, where you were drafting Brown pretty high every season. So I put Hopkins above McCaffrey. So I'm guessing you have McCaffrey there, Ren?
I do. I have Kamara there. I had McCaffrey at 3.
Yeah, okay.
Kamara would be my 4.
Okay, then who's your 5?
My 5 is Melvin Gordon.
Okay. So kind of pretty close to...
That's the highest I've seen him.
Yeah.
The other, I think he was at 6 in another one that I saw, but I have him at 5.
Okay, and at my 5, I have McCaffrey, so just kind of swap those around. And then at my 6, I have Melvin Gordon. So you have Gordon at 4, and then I have him at 6. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then...
No, I have him at 5. I have Gordon at 5.
Okay, Melvin Gordon at 5.
Yep.
And then who do you have at your 6 then? I have Melvin Gordon at my 6.
My 6 is Hopkins.
Okay. So we kind of just fumbled around there just a little bit with... it doesn't hurt for any of those guys. And then, so for my 7 then, so you have 6 for Hopkins. My 7's where the wide receivers start. I got Devontae Adams at number 7.
Okay, I have Adams at 7 as well.
Okay, so I think Adams is going to be another solid pick this year. And let me just tell everyone, sleeper alert on Geronimo Allison again this year.
Oh, that's your boy, and I he's going to be good.
I mean, I drafted him last year with the last pick and I thought he was going to be what I think he's still going to be this year. So he's going to be a great number 2. And Davante Adams he just turned into a monster, and it's crazy to think of a Packer wide receiver being this high.
Dude, he's the number 2 overall receiver, and he is.
I mean,
it's between him or Michael Thomas, but Adams is the main guy.
And I'm gonna throw you off a little bit here, because you're talking about Michael Thomas. My number 8, I put Julio Jones as my number 8, right after number 3 overall wide receiver. So I have him at pick number 8. Who do you have at 8?
8, I have Michael Thomas.
Okay, and that's kind of normal how it's going with Adams and Thomas kind of back to back. I like how Julio turned it on the end of last season, and I mean you can't go wrong with any of these receivers. And before the news of Cook, I think Michael Thomas, if Cook's on the team, I might buy Thomas back up to the number 8 slot, but he needs some other people around him.
I don't think he needs other people around him. He proved last year that guy is the chain mover. He's the man. Like he's getting over 100 receptions every year. He's getting 8+ touchdowns every year as long as he's healthy. That is Drew Brees' guy. If it's 3rd and 7, they're going to him. 3rd and 5, they're going to him. In the red zone, more than likely going to him.
Yep.
He's the guy.
Well, and then
I feel the top 3 wide receivers are it's Hopkins, Adams, and Thomas in my opinion. And I don't really think you can intertwine any of that. Like it's them and in that order. I don't think that you can flip flop them at all.
Well, and then Michael Thomas also helped me and helped you in winning
multiple leagues. So he was on all my championship teams.
So nothing against Thomas. Who you have Thomas at 8? Who's your 9?
Yep, my 9 is Todd Gurley.
Okay.
This is where it gets kind of mucky. Like
yeah.
And when you hear my 10th pick, you might not agree, but it's just another mucky pick that at this point I'm going back-to-back receiver probably.
And just to specify with everyone, we're doing 12-team league here, where we're going for the first round down to 12, and then to 24.
So 24 overall players here.
So once
we'll get more in depth in this later on.
Yeah, and hitting this area, I knew that me and you were going to disagree on a few of these because
for sure.
There's a lot going on after you get those first people. So on my next pick after Julio was going to be Odell. I think Odell at the end of the first round, he's going to...
You got him at 9?
I have him at 9, yeah.
Okay. I like it. I mean, that's my favorite receiver, and so there you go. I like that you're giving him that props.
I think that he's going to command a lot of balls thrown his way, and he's got a good quarterback throwing to him, so... It doesn't hurt that Landry's there too. That's going to pull defenders away from him instead of double covering him. I think Odell possibly. Yeah, I mean it's a definite upgrade at quarterback, and Odell cannot go wrong with having a better offense. So I think Odell takes that bump, and then obviously Michael Thomas is right after my Odell. So I got Odell at 9, and then Michael Thomas at 10. So.
Oh, you had Odell skipping Thomas. Okay, I like it.
And
I don't like it, but I like he got the balls to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be in my keeper league. I'm keeping Thomas, so it's not like I'm talking bad about him. I just think that they're interchangeable. So who's your number 9 and 10?
Okay, so my number 9 was Gurley, and then my number 10, like I said, another mucky pick is Bell. I got Gurley, Bell at 9-10.
Okay.
The potential they have there, man.
Okay, we'll make it to those 2 on my list a little bit.
No, you got them. You would think as who I am, and I love my receivers, but Gurley, I know with his little injury scare and stuff like that, but if he falls at 9, I just don't know how you can't take him there. Bell might be pretty high on my list.
Okay.
But I feel he's going to get the work.
Okay, so then you have... It's funny because you have Gurley and Bell, and then jumping to then my 11, I have a different running back. I put James Conner there at 11 at the end of the first round. And I guess that's kind of key to whoever is leading the backfield for the Steelers. I think Conner is going to do better than Bell. So that's kind of where I put James Conner at 11.
Talking about Conner, I have him at 13. So that's the start of the second round, the first pick in the second round.
Okay.
So my 9 and 10 were Gurley and Bell. And then to round out that first round, 11 and 12 are going to be Odell and Julio.
Okay.
Who's your 11 and 12?
My 11 is James Conner, and then my 12 is Juju.
Juju. Okay.
Yep, I have 2 Steelers there. So I'll go
Homerism right there. That's Homer.
You want to know what though? Juju's jumping into an
He's
Antonio
gonna
Brown
be
slot.
He'll be good. He'll be good. I don't even
And-
have him in my top 17. So
I mean, he drops all the way to 18 when you look at the consensus, but
okay.
I put him up at 12 because I think that I'm gonna get a deal on him in the second round. Hopefully, he goes late second round, and he's going to get a bulk of big.
He's
Ben's.
gonna be drafted probably early second round. He's gonna
That's what
go
I'm
around
thinking.
where you're saying. Honestly, that's where he'll go. The hype is just gonna be insane there. So
I just think about it, though, and it wouldn't make me happy to have the end of the first pick and then pick Juju. So I'm rating him here at the end of the first because of where I think he's going to end up. Drafting, I wouldn't draft him in the first round. I'd probably draft him mid-second round, but in the way that he is going to produce this year, I think he's going to be a top pick. So
okay,
getting into the second round, then who do you have 1, 2? Give me your 1 and then 2.
So first pick of the second round is James Conner. Second, and then the second pick of the second round is going to be David Johnson.
Okay. So
I like David Johnson just because he's the workhorse, and he's going to have a better year than he just had. He has to.
Well, if they get Kyler, I think it'll bump him up.
Oh, for sure. If they get Kyler Murray with the running that he can do, I still think he's in a good spot. Is he going to jump James Conner if Kyler Murray goes? What do you think?
On my list?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna hit you with a shocker here, but I don't have David Johnson even on my list.
Oh, you got him going in the third. Okay.
Yeah. Just okay. I have him at the end of the second. I have him kind of where Joe Mixon area is.
Okay.
And I put them kind of side by side right now for.
You mean
value.
where you have Joe Mixon?
True. I guess we'll see where you have him now that you say something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. I'm already excited now because I like this. Okay, then let me get to my my first pick in the second round would be Antonio Brown, and second pick would be Le'Veon Bell. And either I was thinking on switching those. Bell may be above Brown. I think it's better to have a running back than a wide receiver that's going to the Raiders with Carr as the quarterback. But it's kind of funny on my rankings how I have Connor, Smith, Smith-Schuster, Brown, and Bell, all of the Steelers right there. So, yeah, I would say Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown as my 1-2 in the second round. Any gripe?
Yeah, mine was so yours was that. Mine was the Connor DJ. What about so the third pick in the second round, mine's going to be Tyreek Hill. What do you got?
Okay, so you got Tyreek Hill. I kept Tyreek Hill off my list just because of the
I'm not.
on.
I know that incident showed up, so I'm saying if he's playing, that's where I would pick.
Okay,
I'm not going to take into account the incident that he had, which he may get suspended and whatever. I mean, if the reports come out that there's any possibility of him getting suspended, I'm not touching him. He'll be dropped.
Okay, yeah. Then we'll just play it then. That on mine, then I took him off just because of if he does get into any sort of trouble, he's going to fall off the face of the earth. So,
Yep.
For my 3 and 4, I actually have Gurley and then Nick Chubb. And
Okay.
I like Nick Chubb because he's on a high-powered offense, and he showed flashes last year of being a great running back. So I think that he's
Definitely
going to
flashed. He's going to be pretty good.
he's going to turn into I think a good PPR running back as well. So he can do it all. And Todd Gurley, kind of like how you were talking about it, it's good to get him later on in the draft if he fell to you. And I guess we'll just keep monitoring.
Where's your value on Gurley? Where I know you don't want to take him. I don't want to take him. Where do you want to take him?
So let's say Gurley
where's
fell
your value
to
pick?
Early second round, I would take him.
So, okay, any pick in the second round right there for sure. I mean, you would have
Pretty much.
to. You have to.
Because if enough
People are probably going to be like, oh my God, they're passing on Gurley. Literally, he's scary. So,
in a draft, I would draft him at the end of the first round. I would draft him right behind, maybe before James Conner, right in that area.
Yeah, I'm taking him before James Conner for sure.
Okay. So then you have your 3. Did you say your 3-4?
I had my 3 was Hill. I didn't say my 4. So so let's rerun it. Connor, DJ, first 2 picks in the second round. Then Hill, I said that, and then Mixon.
Okay. I mean, Mixon's
He's the only guy there. The rumors that they may trade AJ Green. By the way, the Packers are interested. So are the Bears. and so are the Patriots, I believe. So if he gets shipped, literally their only offense is going to be Mixon. And they can stack the box all they want. He's a great running back. As long as he can stay healthy, he's going to give you numbers. And in the second round, it's a good pick.
Yeah, I think any time in the second round, Mixon, I think it's where he's going to go, is early second. And to me, I like Mixon, but I mean throughout the years, it's been hard to pick him early because he's burned so many times. I know he's had some good games, but being on that Bengals offense and the coaching that he's had has not let him use his talent. So I don't know. Mixon's been a hard pick. I've always passed on Mixon, and I've never regretted it. I kind of put him in the same areas like Leonard Fournette, where for this year at least, where I think they're both scary picks still. So I mean, you have them early, so
Fournette to me is very scary. So I'll agree with you on that.
My fifth pick, I kind of got back in the receivers. I put down Mike Evans, but I was either Mike Evans or Keenan Allen in that area.
Okay.
So I have them as my 5 and 6. So Mike Evans before Keenan Allen. I guess I could switch up, but I like what the Buccaneers are doing, and Mike Evans has been a pretty good receiver every year.
He's a steady guy.
Yeah,
you're gonna get production out of him, so that's not a bad pick there. My two right there are gonna be the old Steeler teammates. It's gonna go Brown and then Juju.
Okay. I think they're gonna be very similar. That's why they're so close to me too. Is you got Schuster jumping into the lead role, and then you have Antonio Brown, who's kind of a wild card. But so he was at the top, but he's a wild card, so it kind of drops him. And then
he's just so talented. That's why he's here, like at this spot. It's just a new team and the whole circus surrounding him. It drops him, and it's kind of scary. But
yeah,
can he produce what he did? It's going to be pretty tough to do. I feel that's why he's being drafted in the middle of the second round, which is fair.
Yeah, I would say that's a very fair spot for him. And then ending out, so I'm going to give 3 picks here. So I go 7, 8, 9 in the second round. I have Damian Williams, Dalvin Cook, and Adam Thielen. So,
nice. Damian Williams so sneaky, man. That's a good pick there. I don't have him in my top 2 rounds. I know a lot of consensus does.
Yeah, and he's like a third round guy for like normal drafting. And I think Damian Williams or pretty much anyone that's going to be the lead dog at the in Kansas City is going to be
they're going to be fantasy gold.
Worthwhile to have.
Depends on how they run him or what the split is. But if he gets the majority, he's going to be he'll be worthy of that second round pick.
Yep. And then also Dalvin Cook, like we said, his backfield there's nobody. But can he stay healthy? I would love to own Dalvin Cook, but I don't want to put a high capital on his name.
See, I feel mid to late second round you can take them kind of guys.
Yeah.
Like if they stay healthy, they're producing at that or better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they also can get hurt, and that's the chance you'll take there. And I think that's worth the risk. The first round, that's why it's so scary for me to take Gurley there. It's just he's injury prone. Well, not injury prone, but he has that injury that popped up.
And I guess this is where kind of those people lie. Where if they were completely healthy, a lot of these guys would be end of first. And I mean, that's where Dalvin Cook was last year. He was like end of first, beginning of second, along with Leonard Fournette. So
just seeing like Bell, Gurley, Brown at the end of the first, early second, it's just like, what? Just like 3 years ago, these guys were top 3 picks, top 5 picks.
And you remember last year how the receivers were the ones that were dropping. I mean, you got Julio in the second round. You got Odell in the second round.
Yep.
So it
got Michael Thomas in the middle of the second round last year, and
Devontae Adams at the end of the second round.
Devontae Adams was in the second round too.
So, and then I'm going to talk about Adam Thielen real quick. Just how good he was last year, and then he fell off. It kind of makes people scared, but I think Thielen is a solid, and they're going to see how good he did. And I think over the offseason, they're going to work on how they can.
They got to find that man the ball. They have to give him the ball.
Because I mean, when he was going off, I mean, the team looked great. So you can't just chuck it up to Diggs. And hope
I saw a rumor that they were looking at possibly trading Diggs. If that happens, Thielen,
was it just a statement saying that they were going to trade him, or did they give any teams out?
It's not. I don't know how confirmed was it. But I guess they were looking into potentially shopping him. So we'll see.
Okay. I mean, that'd be interesting. I'd want to bring up his like contract and stuff and see where he's at for trading. But yeah, I'd like to see where he goes. So what's your next three then? Your 7, 8, 9. I don't know if you.
My 7, 8, 9 is going to be Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Keenan Allen.
Okay. So I kind of had Keenan Allen up a little bit higher, but very similar to what I had. Then I'm going to
broke it down. I like Keenan Allen a lot, but if it came down to it, I got to take Adam Thielen. Just what he showed, like what he showed he could do last year. Like the top receiver through what, 8 weeks?
And
he has the potential in him.
And when you're drafting too, I think it's an excellent idea to just think of where he's going to be on your depth chart when you're picking a guy. So when you're picking an Adam Thielen, you got to think in your head, would I feel comfortable having Thielen as my wide receiver 1, just sitting there underneath like a running back like us? You pick up Christian McCaffrey or something, and then you have Thielen as your 1. Or would you rather have Keenan Allen as your 1? So
right.
I think
see that in that situation, I'm taking Thielen.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking too.
Thielen will look great as my 1 right there instead of Keenan Allen being my 1.
So maybe that'll be an easier way of like making these picks. So
I mean, I would like to have OBJ and Thielen, something like that. I'm a receiver guy. I love having the stacked receiving core. Well, and then with all the injuries at running back and all the emerging running backs that come every year, you find them late in the draft or as free agents, and they are mainstays on your team. And then you're sitting there with a stacked wide receiver core with
look at
all
this
these running backs.
Look at this draft. Look at last year. You could have had a Hopkins, Adams, Thomas, Odell, Julio, any of those guys as your 1, 2, and then look at all these guys that you could have drafted. James Conner's up there. You could have drafted Nick Chubb. You could have drafted Damian Williams. I mean, obviously not, but
you could have had Damian Williams.
Sony Michel, Aaron Jones, Philip Lindsay, Marlon Mack. I mean, all these guys produced, and now they're all going in the top 4 rounds. So it just shows kind of the wide receiver and the running. Of course, on drafting, the running backs drop off after a certain amount, but then after it drops off, you just got to be smart on who you're picking. You got to listen to us, and we'll tell you who to pick because we're going to find all the breakouts and make sure that we have
throw some sleepers, all that, all the good stuff.
Make sure that
I want to talk about Keenan Allen a little bit too here. Like he's a steady guy. He's going to give you a minimum 10 a game unless he gets hurt in the playoffs and screws you. But other than that, he's going to give you the 10 a game, and come second half of the year, that's where he just explodes. It happened the last 3 years, or the last 2 years now. Second half of the year, he just becomes a monster. He turns into that wide receiver 1 that you drafted him as.
Yep. So I'm going to end off then. I think our 10, 11, 12 are going to be pretty different here. I have at my 10, Sony Michel, and then 11, I have Joe Mixon, and 12, I have Leonard Fournette.
Okay, so, rounding out with 3 running backs. I like it.
I like Sony Michel over those 3. I mean, you have Joe Mixon pretty high, and he could be great, or he could kind of dwindle away again. I think Sony Michel
I don't see him dwindling away. I just don't see it. I can't think of it. Situation they would unless he got hurt. He's just so talented. He's going to get the work. He's like a Le'Veon Bell clone, I feel.
Well, and I'm not talking about his talent. I'm just talking about how the offense uses him.
True. If he doesn't get them catches, then they're going to be losing a lot of games. So
yeah, it's frustrating watching him just running the eye up the middle every time. It's not how he's used, and that's how David Johnson fell off too. That's why I put him kind of side by side. They're amazing players, but
they're wasting his talent. Look what he did the first 2 years. David Johnson, dude, he was elite. He was a 1-on-1. Yeah, he did what he like. Remember LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, his like 26 touchdown year or whatever? I don't even know how many, but he had a lot. So the fantasy numbers that he put up that year was a record. Yeah. David Johnson came very close to that number, which is ridiculous.
Well, and then you remember David Johnson after that season, he's like, okay, next season I want to go for what is it, 1,000?
Yeah, 1,000 or 100 catches, or 1,000. That's what he wanted.
For yardage, and then we got to blame Brent Berry for drafting him, and then he gets hurt. So
he traded for 2 first or extra first round pick, drafted Zeke and DJ, and he sold Zeke right before he broke out in that last year, and then he traded David Johnson.
All right, we won't step on him too much. So then I got I like Sony Michel, obviously from last year. If he can stay healthy, the New England was using him almost as a bell cow, and they don't.
The offense runs through him, and when he's not healthy, they struggle. When he's healthy, he dominates. The team goes. He's a good pick.
It kind of reminds you of that if he stays healthy, like Leonard Fournette. I mean, you're expecting that offense to be better this year, so it only helps Leonard Fournette, and Yeldon's most likely going to be gone, so the backfield is his. Just like Michelle, you just got to stay healthy, and you have a solid running back, RB1 possibly sitting at the end of the second round. So that's kind of where I'm at. Let me know what your last three are, and then we'll cap off the show because we're running a little bit late.
You rounded out your second round with 3 straight running backs. I have a different position at all of them right here. So we're gonna go Mike Evans. We're gonna go Travis Kelce. I did change my stance on that. I know a couple weeks ago I mentioned Zach Ertz.
Ooh.
I think Travis Kelce is gonna get the work, especially like you said. Now this didn't go into my consideration, but what if Tyreek Hill misses games of a suspension? Travis Kelce will be a monster. And to round it out, Nick Chubb. He's got to be in there.
Yep, I like it. And
that's my round out. And I want to do some honorable mentions real quick. T.Y. Hilton, my boy T.Y., my second favorite receiver. I'm getting him somehow, some way.
He was on the cusp on mine too.
He was on the cusp. And then Damian Williams, which you had up there. Zach Ertz is up there. And then I do want to mention Patty Mahomes. Not that I would draft him, but he's like a consensus second round pick. I'm not touching him there, but people will. So I just want to throw his name out there.
Yeah,
he's going to give you fantasy points. Just don't chase the 50 touchdowns.
You just pray that somebody takes him in the second round, and then you get one of these guys.
Yeah, for sure. But those are my honorable mentions.
And then one thing also I wanted to mention before we get done with the show is the tight ends. You got to remember the number one tight end, Rob Gronkowski, was always going as a first or second round pick. So if you feel confident with like Kelce coming in and getting almost those Gronk numbers like he did last year, it doesn't
at the end of the second round, early third round, it's good value. I feel it's good value on that. I don't like taking tight ends early, but Kelce and Ertz are kind of like in a league of their own. They are like the Gronks of old with the numbers they put up. It's like having another wide receiver one there.
Or you just
depending on your draft strategy, it's not a bad pick.
Yeah, because you have Kelce, Ertz, and then Kittle is like the Gronk. What I would like to see though is like a few of like the Cook, if he fell. Yeah, you could snag a Cook. Evan Ingram is going to be
that's another guy we missed on the last show. Evan Ingram is going to be a beast.
Yeah. He
dominated that year that Odell was hurt. I also do want to say this. These are my first rankings. So this is going to change once my final one is published. It will change. You'll notice big differences. Obviously, injuries, suspensions, how people are doing in preseason camp, stuff like that. It's going to change. You probably won't see the tight ends in there. There's going to be other guys that are going to be moving up into these spots. So the Kelce pick, depending on what happens with Hill and all that, he'll probably bounce out of my second round because it's hard for me. It's hard to see myself taking a tight end in the second round. I don't want to fill my tight end position that early just because of the possible values you can get middle to late or breakout candidates. I would rather fill that with a wide receiver or a running back at that point. Because for me personally, I would love to fill my team out with like 3-4 wide receivers with 3-4 running backs before I do quarterback, tight end, anything like that. It's just I'd rather have that depth because injuries happen. You can also use them as trading chips, all that. So, and we'll talk more about that on future shows.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, we're gonna have full episodes just dedicated to talk like that and strategies and kind of what you're looking for. These are going to change. This is just kind of giving you an early glimpse on how we're going to break down the rounds and how we're going to put together our Excel sheets for rankings. We'll do normal rankings just like everybody else does it. Ours is obviously are going to be a little bit different, but I'd like to do our rankings and then we'll put together both of our rankings and do like a consensus on where people are going. And
you'll be able to download those.
Yep. We're going to have all the Excel sheets and everything. So that is how our rankings are going to look and kind of the talk we're going to go over. We'll go over every single round if we need to, if people want to hear later into the draft, but we'll have our little sneak picks and everything like that.
We can even get like a community mock draft like show.
Yeah, I would love that. Or me and you are obviously going to do mock drafts. So if people want to join in,
we'll be having a few mock drafts.
Yeah, we'll get some of our friends involved. Season. So
if anyone out there listening wants to join in a mock draft later in the year, feel free to message us.
Yeah, eventually we'll get to like a real draft. So
that'll
do it for this episode. I know we wanted to get into some questions, but it's already going a little bit late.
Save
I know
them
that
for
we
next
had,
one.
yeah, we're gonna save those ones, and we're not gonna go this late every time. It's just a lot to talk about, and I knew getting into the 2 rounds, it was gonna be a pretty exciting show. So we got
There's a lot to talk
talking.
about, man. We finally got to a mock draft, or a potential mock draft like ranking. So it's fun.
exciting.
Yeah,
It's exciting to talk about, even though we're like months away from actually getting into
months
it.
away. 6 months, whatever it is.
So yeah, follow us at our Twitch handles. I know Ryan switched his. Ryan, let us know what your Twitch handle is.
I did. I changed it to the Dynasty. It's going to be TH3_Dynasty.
And then mine is Bowties, BOWTYZ. We stream in games. I know Ryan's hard into the division right now, and I'm playing a lot of the Apex Battle Pass. And then also we're going to be putting this podcast on our Twitch as well as the days go on and we get a little more organized with the social media. Also, I have our YouTube, which is MVP Sports Podcast. Make sure you go on there and you subscribe. Like the videos as they pop up. It definitely helps. Any comments in there help as well. And then also in iTunes and on Spotify, you can find us at the MVP Podcast. It could be under MVP Sports and Fantasy Podcast. Just look for our logo, and then make sure you subscribe on any application that you are listening to, and then rate, comment, and subscribe, because it'll help us out. It'll help us get to more of a top of the tier list for people listening. We want people to follow us and comment and rate. So.
Yeah, I mean, like he's saying right there, that's support. Any support helps, and I mean, we want to get better at this every week, and we want to be able to bring the best information as we can, and the more support, the better.
And we got a Discord
keeps you getting
too.
Going and motivated, and we're gonna have a Discord channel if anyone knows what that is, so you can hop in and out of there and maybe ask questions in there. And if you want to get your questions asked on the show, you can do that. Whatever, down the road, we're gonna have a Discord server. We're gonna get it all set up for everyone to figure out, and that'll be in the future. But just letting everyone know it'll be coming. And
also, I'm gonna make a new beginning song and ending song just to please all the people that are ragging on our songs. So we're gonna have new ones for this one.
It's a good podcast. You guys did good, but the intro is terrible.
Oh man, what a shot! All right, that's it for me.
Hey, that's what we want, though. We want that.
Yep. So that's it for the podcast. Ryan, any last words?
That's it, man. That was an exciting episode.
All right, we'll see you guys later.